Die Distanz in dieser ersten Session ist Best of 11 Legs. 6 Legs braucht man also, um in die zweite Runde einzuziehen. Und den Caller kennt ihr auf jeden Fall. Ganz bekanntes Gesicht, seit vielen Jahren mit dabei. Große Matches gecallt. The Puppy George Noble.
Well, here we go again. 1 week on from Leverkusen. Welcome to Hildesheim for the second of this year's European Tour events, the German Darts Championship, a tournament that's been an ever-present on the Euro circuit in its modern-day guise, and one that's been won twice by the defending champion, Michael van Gerwen. Now, as the world #1 makes his way here from Rotterdam and Premier League matters, today sees the 32 unseeded players fight it out in the first round. And among the big names on stage later, we'll have the UK Open champion Nathan Aspinall, the World Championship quarter-finalist Luke Humphries, and the former European Tour winner Mervyn King. Right now, though, it's the turn of these two. Simon Stevenson, the man in your picture, the mirror man against the badger, Dave Prins from Peterlee in County Durham. The stage is set. We've got 16 matches to look forward to today. Dan Dawson, I'm assured, will be with us at some point over the course of the next 10 hours. In the meantime, you'll have to make do with me, Rob Malarkey, and Paul Nicholson. Good afternoon, Paul.
The amount of times that I heard last week in your absence, Rob, you'll have to make do with the asset. Well, that is my complex, but I am very happy to be here. Off a plane this morning, straight to the arena to watch the Badger versus the Mirror Man. And it should be a decent
First
game.
leg, Simon to throw first. Game on.
Simon Stevenson is playing rather well, and he made his first bow into a big event quarter-final very recently. So Dave Prins knows, even with all his experience, that this is a very tricky match.
Yeah, Simon Stevenson, a quarter-finalist at the UK Open. It was almost a home tournament for him, not too far away, or not a million miles away from his home in Devon when he was involved in the finals in Minehead at Butlins. Made the quarter-finals there. Nothing like a home crowd for him here today, though. Always difficult this early stages of the Friday afternoon session, but of course over the rest of the weekend, certainly tonight as well, there'll be a very healthy attendance for this German Darts Championship. And I've got to say, Paul, when you look at the roll of honour, the list of names that have won this tournament in the past, I mentioned Michael van Gerwen being a two-time champion here, the defending champion as well. But Peter Wright was a winner a couple of years ago. Gary Anderson in 2014. Anderson played his part in a wonderful final against van Gerwen a year later as well. And Dave Chisnell, and also Phil Taylor when it was held in Berlin in the very first edition of this tournament. Like I say, in the current guise, the modern day guise of the European Tour. Phil Taylor got his name on the roll of honour as well. So there's a lot to live up to. And let's not forget Alan Norris as well, by the way, 2016 champion Alan Norris. So a lot to live up to for any potential first-time champion here this weekend.
How can we possibly forget that night when Alan Norris, that championship over yellow class, and what a day that was. Remember when Gurney took out Van Gerwen and Chisnell was the favourite and he got absolutely flogged in the end, and then it was just Norris who plucked away and took the title. But it's Prins who's got the jump here on Simon Stevenson at the very start. Now look at the bullseye with third dart there.
65.
Yep, sensible stuff to leave a two-darter, and Simon Stevenson is chasing very early in a tournament that, he mentioned the great champions before. Phil Taylor's actually won this a few times.
95.
He's won it 1, 2, 3 times, because he won it twice before it was actually classified as a European Tour event, back when it used to be held in Halle, which is only 20 minutes down the road from here. We'll talk about that more a little bit further on in this game, I think.
Well, Prins has left himself tops as a result of that particular visit. Stevenson has work to do here on 117. It's by no means an impossibility. He'll look at treble 19 here, and he's found it as well. Stevenson to steal.
97. They require 40.
So tops for Dave Prins for a break of throw. Getting closer. And that'll do it. Nice gradual movement there from Dave Prins to win that first leg, and it is a break of throw as well.
Game on.
Frustrating for Stevenson, who had his chances there with that 117.
Well, it had to go in, didn't it, that third dart, because it was just so close to the wire, and the way that his darts land next to each other, it was just the perfect guide for Dave Prins to get that tops and get the first leg against throw.
192.
think it's fair to say Dave Prins is happy with the time he's playing today, and he could well be the first person through in the worst possible draw. Is to be the first one looking for a flight home. But Prins, coming through qualifying, was excellent in beating Daffeth Edwards and Steve Lennon by 6 legs to 4 both times. He was in excellent form, high 90s averages, and we had a chat, didn't we, about why he's called the Badger, and got on the old blower and spoke to Chris Dobie. Because I used to play Super League with Dave Prins for the White House Unique Social Club in Ashington in Northumberland. I still didn't know why it was called the Badger, and apparently it's because he has, well, he used to have black and grey hair, now it's more grey. But he used to be on night shift as well, so nocturnal animal, black and grey, obviously that's why it's called the Badger.
Yeah, he was or still is, a warehouse operator by trade as well. I was confused because, of course, Badgers are black and white, but he's a massive Sunderland fan. And I just thought, you know, it seems a strange way to go for a Sunderland fan to adopt a black and white animal as your... well, that's too good, actually. Oh, well, he's left himself 82.
Well, now he's thinking he should have gone for 42, but I think that was the right shot considering the lie of the dart. I think going for that bullseye was the right shot, but now he's thinking, what am I going to do now? Just lays up. I think that's pretty solid. No shot for Stevenson to take this out and break straight back. But now Prins has options. He's looking at 10. Tops again. Can't get it this time, so double 10.
40.
And now Stevenson should take this away.
Well, should do, but he wasn't too convincing before.
20.
And he's off the target once again.
He'd be livid with that, Rob, because that lie was perfect. He just sneaked on top of it. He just gave it too much juice. Working his way down again, just like the first leg. It's gone the wrong way.
No score. Simon, you require 40.
He's had plenty of practice at it.
Yeah, you suspect once the first one goes in, he might have a productive run on the doubles, but it's proving elusive, but he finds it with the second dart in hand, and it's an instant break back for Simon Stevenson. And yeah, Dave Prins will be feeling a bit frustrated there, because we've said it time and time again, it's only worth its weight in gold, that early break, if you then go on and back it up with a hold of throw.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about the tournament itself, the German Darts Championship, and if you talk to professionals who have been on the circuit for about 10 years, they hold this tournament very dear, because it was around before the European Tour started, and when it was part of the European Tour, it almost felt like it had the grandeur already, as opposed to some of the other tournaments that have only been going for a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years maybe. This one's been going a lot longer.
100.
I cast my mind back to 2008. It was my first German Darts Championship in Halle, and in the final, Phil Taylor was playing against Cole Stompey, and everybody thought at the time that Taylor was going to be unbeatable.
180.
Well, in that final, Cole Stompey averaged 108 and won. He played out of his socks, took the €25,000 prize and the abnormally large trophy, and that vaulted him into the big leagues in the PDC. It was huge for Cole Stompey. But the other 3 times that it was played in the first 4 years, Phil Taylor won it. The arena that they played that in had to be seen to be believed. It was enormous.
89.
I mean, this arena here is fantastic. It's got some history. We've played here for many years.
Yeah.
But that Halle arena was probably 6 to 7 times the size of this. They couldn't fill it. But on the Sunday, he couldn't move.
Well, here in Hildesheim, at Halle 39, or Halle 39, it's becoming, or has become for many, the spiritual home of the European Tour. Stevenson now looking at 76, so he'll switch to the 16s, I think, here, just to set this one up. Although Prins may well fancy his chances of stealing another leg against the throw.
You will now.
Double 18.
Each on the third leg.
Excellent finishing. And that's even better considering what happened before.
Fourth leg, Dave to throw first.
Missed starts in the last leg, and this is a break fest.
Yeah, we often talk about breaks of throw proving decisive. I think a hold of throw could prove decisive in this one, the way it started out. Got to say, Prins has been in fairly good form this year. He's had one or two notable results. I suppose the most notable of the lot was when he made the final on the Challenge Tour earlier this year. He was beaten 5-4 by Boris Koltsov in that final. Koltsov becoming the first Russian winner on the PDC secondary tour. And Boris is back here this weekend. He shared a lift with me to the arena from the hotel earlier today. I exchanged one or two of my known words in Russian, but that was the extent of it, really.
One or two more than I know.
But very good English, Boris Koltsov. Very nice guy as well. Played his part at the World Championship last year. He was beaten by Chris Dobie in the first round at Ali Pali. And I think he's one of these players, you know, I think he's just got to get acclimatised to the system.
60.
Not quite sure. I mean, is he still living in Russia as well?
Yeah, he still lives in Russia.
There's obviously a lot of commuting going on.
Yeah, he travels over from the Moscow region for challenge tours and things like that. And I think there will come a time, I think he's just waiting for that big break, getting a tour card, or potentially, you know, getting a really big run somewhere, potentially here, would change everything. And his agent, know him very well, because he's the same agent as mine. So I've got to know Boris quite well over the last few years, and I really rate the guy. I think he's got a very good level, and winning on the Challenge Tour is not an easy thing to do. And the fact that he's done that now may be a springboard for something this weekend.
133.
He ain't got it easy though, has he? He's playing home favourite Artut. He played last week, and Artut only averaging 70s and 80s in qualifying, but got 60. Here. I think Koltsov's got to be the favourite, but it's not an easy game.
Well, this could be the first holder throw, because Prins has got effectively 6 darts from here.
54.
And he'll need at least 4 of them.
Simon's not going to be happy with this performance so far. His first start hasn't been plumb, but as soon as I say that...
140.
The amount of people who are doing that these days, Rob, from 184, trying to leave double 2. It's not like you're trying to get the noise of the crowd up, because there's only about 150 people here for a Friday afternoon.
Well, it's just applied a bit of pressure more than anything, because Prins is wayward on the double 12 once again, and that has made life awkward for him. But Stevenson now looking at 44 for a 4th successive breaker throw to start off the weekend. He's back on tops once again, and this time first start in hand on tops, and he makes no mistake, and it is 2 apiece.
It was a very authoritative dart, that, because as soon as it hit tops, it hit the underside of the wire, and it actually made the bed look bigger. So that was his dart, his very heavy dart, that is, just telling the wire to get out of the way.
125.
Talking about managements, obviously Simon's signed a new management deal at the start of the season, and he's done very well. He's in the same stable as Justin Piper, who had a phenomenal tournament last week under really incredible circumstances, and we hope that the Pipe family have had a strong week together. And I know that Simon will have been in touch with Justin in the last few days, but Pipe was phenomenal last week. He really did himself a lot of credit. Yeah,
he was in really good company, because the quarterfinals, apart from Pipe, it was 7 seeded players, wasn't it? And Pipe made it all the way through to the final session. And I think he can come away from that with a lot of respect, very much intact.
When Justin went in the crowd last week and stood on the table and gave everybody a clap, I think that was one of the moments of the week. But that 180 could signal, I'm crossing my fingers, potentially for a holder throw. Who'd have thought it?
Well, there's just a bit of daylight here between Stevenson and Prins in this 5th leg. And Stevenson has lots of room to work with now, lots of time to work with as well. No great pressure. 80 away, double 10 required. Just outside.
79.
But he has all the time and all the darts in the world to secure this elusive first holder throw.
Yeah, you can't get much closer without hitting it, that's for sure. I had to look twice at that one. I thought it was in to start with.
140. So I mean, you require 20.
2 10s then. for a very tidy 13-dart leg. Best of the match so far. In this England versus England match, the South is beating the North.
Well, Stevenson's run to the quarterfinals at the UK Open earlier this month. He beat Dave Chisnell, of course, in the last 16 in an absolute thriller, 10-9. He was 8-4 down in that one as well. But his finishing that day, I thought, was exemplary. There was a checkout of 150, there was a 104 and then a 128, and that brought him level at 8-all. And then even then, Chizzy threatened to come again, and perhaps thought it was all in vain. And Stevenson certainly stayed mentally very strong as well, and I thought he really held it together very effectively in those closing stages.
Yeah,
but prior to that as well, I mean, he beat Mark Webster, Barney, and Kim Huybrechts. So
no fluke.
When you tally all that up, it was a really, really good run. It's not as if he had a kind draw.
Not at all. The game against Barneveld, he just bossed him. And I think the most important thing for Simon, not just the results, but it's finding out how to beat that many great players in a short period of time. And once you know that you can do it, it grows the confidence exponentially. And he is a different player now. He just has a little air of confidence around him that people can see, and his opponents can see as well, because he's always been really, really dangerous. He's looking to put some daylight between himself and Dave in the scoreline now, as opposed to just the score from the last leg, because he's on an 11-darter to back up the 13. He may rue that miss. Prins is lurking.
He is lurking. Stevenson can only hope and pray that Prins does not take out this 108, but it's very gettable for Dave Prins. But then bang on cue, he hits a treble one, and that has pretty much kiboshed all of that. So a little bit of a let-off for Simon Stevenson.
I wonder if he was caught in two minds there as to whether to go for the 60 or the treble 18, because if he gets the 54, he'll stay on the 18s for the whole thing. But Simon Stevenson right down the pipe on double six. Shouldn't be a problem, isn't a problem. And 4-2 does put that little bit of daylight in there, and another break of throw, and the most important one of the match so far.
Well, winning first-round matches on the European Tour isn't a habit that Simon Stevenson has managed to develop over the last couple of years or so. He made his European Tour debut in Austria in 2016. He beat James Wilson in his first-round match that year in Austria, then lost to Ian White. But he's been beaten in the first round in each of his last 5 Euro Tour events, including 3 last year.
60.
Van der Voort did for him at the very end of last year's campaign in Europe in the European Darts Trophy in Göttingen. He was a first-round loser in Austria and at the German Darts Open as well.
100.
So, not quite uncharted territory if he gets to the second round, but he's only been there once before, and it was 3 years ago.
I know one thing that Justin Piper told him. If he gets through today, he can go down the street in Hildesheim. There's a beautiful steakhouse down there.
There is.
Does a marvellous Chateaubriand.
137.
And you might think that's so very middle class. Well, the only reason I had it was because I was dared to have the whole thing by Vincent van der Voort. Because when you mentioned Vincent's name, it twigged that little memory of mine. And there is more proof from Simon Stevenson. He's looking like he is going to be serving up a steak tonight, and a meeting with Johnny Clayton, the 9th seed.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you caught Johnny Clayton last week, but he had a very odd weekend. He couldn't hit double 2, he could hit double 1, and then he had Van Gerwen on a plate, really. But I think Johnny Clayton's going to be a dark horse this week, I really do.
Well, Prins needs this 164, but he won't find the 164. Stevenson looking to stretch ahead now.
Simon, you require 20.
Can he see that one? Yes,
He's
just enough.
Well, it was right underneath as well. I mean, of all the places he could go, that was the one that I least expected. But
Yeah.
Simon Stevenson, full of surprises, he conjures up another ace from up his sleeve. He's one leg away from a place in the second round. And, yeah, I mean, it took him a while to get going, but Prins,
140.
I wouldn't write him off just yet. We've seen it time and time again where players get themselves into a good position, but obviously then the shackles come off and players begin to play with a bit of freedom. They're seemingly dead and buried at 5-2 or 5-1 down.
84.
Yeah, you can't count anybody out these days. I remember back to when Dave Chisnell was playing against Michael Smith in the match play, and Smithy was way in front, and then all of a sudden Chisnell just
60.
turned on the turbos, and he went nuts. I just didn't think it was going to happen, and that's what makes this sport brilliant sometimes. Something completely unexpected goes on.
60.
I go back to last week's final.
Yeah.
I'm still talking about it days later. 174 to leave a shot for Rob Cross. What does Van Gerwen do? 171, 170 out.
55.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff, and we want to see more of that this weekend. I'm sure we will from Cross and Van Gerwen.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the outset, Van Gerwen making his way, and Cross, and indeed the other Premier League players on duty this weekend making their way from Rotterdam to here. It's about a 4-hour drive or so from Rotterdam to Hildesheim. If they want to go that way, of course. Van Gerwen may even take the opportunity to pop back home.
Barney did that last week after Berlin. He went home, then he went on to Leverkusen. It turned out to be probably the wrong move, because he then got Steve beaten. And we'll get some more late night beating later when he's playing against Vandenberg. I mean, talk about a game of the generations later.
Yeah, he looked incredibly relaxed this morning, by the way. Beautiful sunny day in Hildesheim, and you can imagine the the town square, the cobble streets. Beaton was positioned outside a cafe, sipping away gently on a mochaccino, and he just looked all the part of a man who has just got no cares in the world whatsoever. Topping it up, lapping it up.
Topping it up indeed. And it is Simon Stevenson who tops it up. Gets himself in the next round. A fantastic display from Simon Stevenson. At the start, it was a little bit patchy, but when he found his spots, he was very good indeed. There was a lovely cluster of legs right at the end there, and he accentuates his confidence and form with a 117 checkout. Excellent from the Mirror Man. We're going to be seeing much more of him. He plays Johnny Clayton tomorrow, but next, stick around for Martin Atkins of the Leeds variety, and Luke Humphries. Ever so exciting young man, Luke Humphries.
Yeah, I seem to be doing okay. Obviously, the more experience I'm getting, the better I'm playing, and I feel comfortable. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Looking back to the UK Open, how big was it in the inside? So if you look back on it?
Oh, it was fantastic. Made a really good run. Really had to be on top of my game. And the most important thing was finishing. And I was finishing very well to get me through it.
We are always talking about confidence. Success like that brings you lots of confidence. Do you feel that?
Yeah, of course. Every time you're playing up and you're winning, you're getting more confidence. And that's what I'm feeling at the moment, coming up and thinking, I feel comfortable playing on the stage now. And yeah, really feel really good.
Yeah. So you arrived to a European Tour event. Is there a different goal now? Is it thinking about winning it or reaching the last session? Or?
Of course, yeah. You got to look at the next game. Just win the next game and see what happens after that. And that's how I roll. You just look at the next game, really.
Cool. Thank you very much. Simon Stevenson, the Mirror Man, gibt sich ganz bescheiden und zurückhaltend